Hey guys, so we're going to create a simple pickup system, health pickup system that can modify the character stats in real time. So what we're going to do is, as you can see here, it's a basic third person template, nothing special about it. So the first thing we're going to do is create our pickup actor. So in the content folder, I'm going to right click and create a new folder, and I'm going to call this health. Health system. Open it up. I'm going to create our pickup actor here, a new blueprint class, actor, and I'm going to call this BP underscore health. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to add two components. The first one is going to be a sphere collision, and the second one is going to be our static mesh, which is our health mesh. Great. So for our sphere collision, I'm going to set the sphere radius to 100. And the event graph here, I'm going to blow this away. I'm going to create a simple cast just for this example. Obviously, you can create like an interface or some other reference call. So I'm going to say get player character. And I'm going to store this reference to our third person character. Great. So the next thing we're going to do is select our sphere again. I'm going to scroll straight down and I'm going to add on component begin overlap and on component end overlap. So I'm going to check if the other actor is equal to our player character. So basically, if the overlapping actor is our player, which is our third person character, we're going to run some print strings here. On begin, and I'm going to do a next one for on end. Now, in the viewport, you can see there's basically nothing. So I'm going to select the health mesh and I'm going to select a cube. I'm going to set the scale to something like 0.3 and I'm going to drop it into the world. Great. So now if I run up to this, it should print on begin, on end, on begin, on end when we leave. So the next thing, I didn't show you this, but you're basically blocked by the cube. If you don't want that issue, select your health mesh and scroll down to the collision settings. You don't need any overlap events for this, so I can uncheck that. You don't want the character to be able to step up on this, so you select no, and change this from block all dynamic to custom, and you want to ignore all collision responses. And now I should be able to pass through. On begin, on end, on begin, on end. Great. Next, let's open up our third person character. And what we're going to do is create two functions and a variable. First, well, the only variable is going to be overlapped actors, and it's going to be of type actor, and ensure to make this an array. Now we can create our functions. We're going to call add item and remove item. We're going to get our overlapped actors here and we're going to say remove item and connect the input of the remove to the input of our function. For the add, we're going to do something similar. Great. So now we're going to head back to our BP health, and when we begin overlap, we're going to get our character and we want to say add item, and the item that we want to add is this one. Get reference itself, and we want to say remove for when we end overlap. and again the reference is self. So what we can do in our third person character here is call an event tick just to debug this. Call a print string. Let's get the length of our array and print it. And we're going to call this overlapped actors. Alright, so you can see overlap actors is 0. If I overlap this one, it should be 1. So if I duplicate this, and let's say all of them are overlapping each other, I can run in, you'll see 1. If I go to the center of 2 of them, it should say 2. That way we can have control over interaction. Now I'm going to create a simple key binding, nothing to do with the enhanced input system or anything. And I'm going to get the overlap vectors, and let's get index 0. And let's call an interface. So in the health system, create an interface, blueprint interface, BPI, interact, open it up, and let's just call this interact. And let's call our interface here, interface function. Alright, we want to check if the interaction item is valid. And before we check for that, let's check if the array is empty. So only if the array is not empty, then we can check to see if the item we're trying to interact with is valid. Open up BP Health, head to class settings, add a new interface here, and select our BPI interact. In the interfaces category, you can double click on this to create an event, and you can add a print string to see if it's being called. So if I head up and hit E, you can see it's printing hello. So what we're going to do for now is say destroy actor. Now we can see which one it's destroying each time we press E. It destroyed the center. 1. Right, so if we go in and let's say you're overlapping 2, it will destroy 1 and then 2. Now, let's modify the character's health with this. So create a variable called health. It's going to be of type float. Ensure it's a single variable, not an array. And let's just create a function called set health. Create an input of type float. Incoming health. Alright, so we only want to modify this if well, yeah, we want to add on to this. So basically, incoming health plus regular health. It's going to be the other way around. Sorry. And then we want to set health. But before we do, let's say we want to clamp it between 0 and 100. So let's clamp float between 0 and the max health, which will be 100, and set it. Now let's head to BP health, and when we overlap and we press E, let's get our character, and it's called set health. Let's make this a variable. Ensure it's instance editable. Now if I click on this health here, I can modify the value in real time. Well, pre-begin play. And let's say I want to add 25 health. And the current health, let's clamp it between a range of 0 and 100. And the current health of 50. Oh, wrong variable. Well, yeah, that can stay as is. For this one, we don't need a default value. In the third person character, we can set the default value as 50. And again, we can clamp it between 0 and 100. And now, let's, on the event tick again, we can remove this from here. Since we don't need it, we know it's working. Let's get our health, and we're going to print that out instead. Let's call this current health. Current health 50, so if I go up to this and I hit E, it should add 25, which will make our health 75. Great. And that's how you create a basic health pickup system. If you want to add like a widget blueprint, it's really easy. You head to user interface, not a widget preview, sorry. Let's create a widget blueprint. WB main HUD, open this up. We're going to add a panel, canvas panel. And next we're going to add a progress bar. Let's wrap this with a vertical box. And we're going to anchor this to the bottom left. Size the content to be true. For the progress bar, let's wrap this progress bar with a size box. Select the size box, enable width and height override. I'm going to set the width to 56 and the height to 16. And let's get the vertical box again, and let's just set the position X to 100 and the position Y to minus 100. Now what we can do is head to the graph. Alright, we could delete all of this, create a function called update health. Let's get the progress bar and set %. We're going to drag the input of this function to the input of our newly created function. Close this, compile, and let's head back to our third person character on event begin play. Let's get it. We can say create widget. And the widget that we want to create is our main HUD. We can store a reference to this if we want. And let's just add it to the viewport. If I hit play again, you can see the health will be on the screen, but nothing's happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag off of the main HUD here, and we're going to say set health. What did I call it? Update, yes. We're going to call update health. And we're going to update the health to the character's current health. And now it will be set to 50, which is half. So what we're going to do here firstly is we're going to divide this by our maximum health value, which is 100. So now we get 50. Now we can increase the health after we interact with it. We can do in the BP health before we destroy the actor, or we can do in the set health function actually. We can say, let's get the main HUD, and we're going to call the same function update health again. And drag the percentage. So if I interact, oh, I did not do the division. Right, so now it will add 25. And just like that. So let's create a few more in the world. Let's drag this one here. And let's decrease our current health value from 50 to 25. So that way we can pick up all 3 items. So I pick up this one, it will go to 50, this one to 75, and this one to 100. Great. And that's how you create a basic health pickup system. See you in the next one.